Welcome back, it's Shrike here with another D&D video. Today I'm going to be looking at the digital dice from D&D Beyond, and I'm doing it a little bit differently because I'm doing it live this time. I have done quite a few of these sort of reaction first look type videos and they don't take too much editing, so I thought why not actually just do it live. If there's not too much editing to be done, might as well do it live, and then I can interact with you guys, answer any questions you have, we can sort of react and have our first look together. So I thought that would be a better way to do it rather than me just doing it on my own in this little room and then uploading it with minimal editing. So we'll see how this goes. So if you are viewing this after the fact, this was in fact done live. So if you want to see more content like this, subscribe and then you'll get a notification when I'm going live again, so you can come and get involved with what I'm doing. So there might be a few technical issues because this is literally the first time I have ever gone live on the internet before. So something might go wrong, but I'm hoping that it's all just going to go swimmingly and there won't be any issues. So the first thing I need to do then is, if I press this button, I'm hoping you can now see D&D Beyond. I'm just going to make sure that that is the fact. Oh, that's not right. There we go. So yeah, you can now see D&D Beyond. So just to give you a little bit of information, I know absolutely nothing about this dice roller. So I got an email from them because I'm a subscriber a few days ago saying that there's a new dice roller, and I knew that it was in the works, but I didn't know it was coming out anytime soon. I have no idea about functionality or anything like that. So this is genuinely going to be my first reaction to it. So hopefully it's good, because, you know, it'd be a bit of a bad reaction if it's bad. So let's just jump straight in then. So I'm assuming I need to, yeah, so if you go to collections here and in my dice, I'm assuming this is where the dice are. Oh, okay, so they're going to have different skins for dice, it looks like. So they've got two basic ones and then they've got an old school one here. So let's go for the old school one. I assume what's going to happen then is when books are released, there's going to be related dice released with them for a bit of extra value, which I'm okay with. Okay, I am assuming then you have to actually go into the character sheet. So I'm going to choose Aurelius, who was my level 20 tiefling that I played a whole campaign with. Okay, so it's all clickable now. So if I go ahead and do an Arcana check, rolls a little dice, and then down here it does the maths for you as well, and then it gives you the outcome. Okay, that's quite cool. Oh, and then down here in the bottom left, so I'm assuming this is if I just want to do a d20, you have to click there and then click roll. Got a 19, not bad. I think it would, so you could do, I was about to say, I think it would be better if you just click that and then it rolls it, but I'm assuming it's so you can do multiple and then click roll. And then I assume you can, so yeah, you can do different types of dice and then press roll. Oh, they're different colours, that's cool. That's quite cool, they look very old school style dice. And then it does all the maths down here. And I'm assuming, yeah, you can just get rid of it like that. Okay, cool. So if I... And all of these are clickable as well. So if we go to spells, then let's see. So the abilities that force someone else to do a roll, you can't click them because I'm assuming that's the Dungeon Master's job. So that makes sense. And then let's find one which has a lot of dice. There you go. It comes down here. It looks like you can collapse and expand it, or you can get rid of them as well, which is quite nice. Okay, so I see here it says that I have disadvantage, so I wonder if I click this, does it automatically roll it with disadvantage? No, it doesn't look like it. Oh, it's because I've collapsed it. Okay, no, it doesn't, so you have to click twice. Oh, and you can't click straight away. You have to wait for the animation to be done and the maths to be worked out. that's a little bit frustrating. I should have also said that this is actually an alpha, so this is the first time they're putting it out. This isn't the fully fledged tool that there will be when it's done. So some things might change, and one of the things that I hope changes is that you can click more than once and it will roll more than once dice, because it's not automatically doing a disadvantage and I need to roll 2 of those dice rather than clicking twice and then it rolling 2 at the same time. I'm having to wait and then click again, which in game isn't really how you want it to work. But this might be something they change at a later date, or maybe they'll add advantage and disadvantage into it as well. I assume, yes, there's nothing down here so if you've ever used Fantasy Grounds, you can click an advantage button and then click the dice, and then it will roll 2 and get rid of the higher. So they might do something like that, or they might just have it that if the ability has disadvantage, then you can click it. Has disadvantage because I finished that campaign with level 1 exhaustion as well, just so you know. So that's why I have disadvantage on them, I believe. Okay, so I also wanted to look at, because I had a little imp friend. So if I click into the imp, okay, so it doesn't look like your pets, so you can't actually click the pet stuff, so you would have to still find a different way to roll it. I guess you could just use this dice down here. That's a bit annoying actually. So if you have the imp stats up and then you click off of them, it usually gets rid of them, and clicking over here counts as getting rid of them. So that is a bit frustrating. That is something they're gonna have to change, because, well, it doesn't work in game. Because if I wanted to +5 and then do 1d4, I would go do that, forget that it was +5 maybe, or forget what the next part is, and then I'd have to click in and scroll down again, which is too much work. You might as well just use your dice on your desk by then. So that is something they're gonna have to change. I also wanted to see, not there, if there were any settings. Okay, so dice rolling. Oh, okay, so that just gets rid of it. That just simply gets rid of it. It looks like there's a place you can give feedback as well. Might go through some of those feedbacks and see what people are saying so far. But it doesn't look like there's any other sort of settings in here. Let's have a look in preferences. So why I was looking at this is because this animation of doing that, and the fact that you have to wait for it to drop and then it tells you the outcome down here, that's quite long, and I wouldn't use that. I would use dice at a table, because that is too long. But if there was an option, if there was a setting where you could take that animation off, so I could just press, for example, this +8 Arcana, and all it does, it doesn't do all this rolling business around my screen. It just gives me the outcome of the dice plus the modifier, and then the final outcome. If that was the case, without this gumph of it rolling around the screen, I'd probably be more inclined to use it. But doing this takes longer than actually rolling a real dice. So I don't really know why you would do that and not just roll a dice. I guess if you don't have a dice, and the one reason I definitely would use this is for the big spells or the big effects where you have to roll loads of dice and then do loads of maths. It is quite nice that it just rolls and then it does the maths for you down here. But once again, I think I would enjoy it more if it didn't do this animation. It just did the maths down here and told me. Maybe that's me though, maybe people like that animation, but rolling a real dice is just so much more satisfying. So I would just roll real dice, to be honest. I wouldn't bother with this, but then, yeah, that's a good reason to have it though, is if you have to roll loads of dice, then do the maths. It does make it a bit easier. Right, so you might not know, but I am mainly a Dungeon Master, so it's actually quite rare that I'll be in the character sheet on D&D Beyond, because I'll usually be using the other features, and recently they've put my encounters into beta, so I'm hoping that the dice roller works in this. This is just a random encounter, that I put together. So it's got the auto roll initiative, so let's do that, and then let's start. And I'm hoping I can go to here. No. Okay, so the dice roller doesn't really help you as a dungeon master then, it's more of a player tool, which is fine. Hopefully, maybe later on, as I said, it is in alpha, so maybe later on they're going to add it to all of these as well, because that would make your life a lot easier if you could say all of these had to do a stealth check, rather than having to roll, do the add-in, roll, do the add-in, roll, do the add-in. You could just click them all, click stealth, and then it tells you the outcome for them all. That'd be really helpful as a dungeon master, because there are some times where you have to do multiple rolls for being. It's sort of similar to this initiative actually. If there's a way to just select whatever you need to select, do a roll for each of them, that would help a lot. And then once again, actually making these clickable, so the +7 to tentacle attacks, and then the damage would be quite nice, but I still think I'd just use dice. I don't think even if that was there, especially not with the animation. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Are you going to be using this, or are you just going to continue to just use dice? I think in Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, the fact that everyone can see your roll is a big part of why people would use them. So if someone says, so if I say to someone, do a stealth check, they click the button to do a stealth check, and then it shows to everyone that they got 14, for example. But for this isn't being shown to anyone. They're doing their own stealth check, and then they're telling me that they got a 14 for their stealth. Why wouldn't you just use a normal dice at that point? I don't know. It'd be interesting to talk to someone from D&D Beyond and work out why this is here. Because if it's to try to make your game easier, there's a lot more that they could do with it, in my opinion. Because at the moment it's not really making your life that much easier than rolling a normal dice, other than the fact obviously it's there with you all the time. That's also actually that's a good benefit. So if you are out and about and decide you want to play some Dungeons and Dragons, maybe you're at a convention and you don't have any dice, you can still have dice in the digital format. Let's go back to the characters then, and let's jump back into the character here. Let's see if there's anything else that we can sort of test. Okay, so if I go to short rest, okay, so you can't roll hit dice because it's not on the. Okay, so you wouldn't be able to roll hit dice on here. You'd have to use the actual dice down here. Everything else seems to be clickable. So other than the familiars and anything like that isn't clickable. There's your spell DC and attacks. They're clickable in the spells. And the short rest hit dice isn't clickable as well. But other than that, everything seems to be clickable. So that's okay. I'm really interested to find out what you think. Would you use this, or would you rather just use normal dice rather than click that? I guess I'm coming from someone, I'm pretty good at mental maths, so it doesn't take me too long to do 3 + 5 in this example. But I guess there are people out there that aren't as good as mental maths, so this might actually help them quite a lot at streamlining their game and making it a bit more smoother, because they don't have to think about maths anymore. They can just click their charisma saving throw, do 18 + 11, and then they just look here and see the 29 rather than having to do that maths. And I can definitely see it as a benefit for these bigger maths, like 8d6, rather than having to count them all up. It just tells you down here, which is definitely good. But other than that, for general ones, or for ones with small maths, like initiative here, where it's just +2, 9 + 2, 11, I can work that out before this maths even works it out. So yeah, I don't know. I guess with time we'll find out, and because it's an alpha, we'll have to see how they actually improve it as well. I'm interested to see what other people are saying in the forum, but I'm not sure if that's going to make a very good video, just me going through the forum. Oh, here you go. So there's someone already talking about, I'm guessing there's already a discussion then about turning off the 3D dice and the rolling animation. This person saying they'd like to keep it. So there's other people that think the same as me. I would be more inclined to use it if it didn't have that animation and it just told me the outcome and the maths. I'll have a quick little scroll through just in case there's. Yeah, there you go. Option to disable dice visual. If we put it by views, turn off 3D dice. Dice rolled feed to DM. So they're both things that I spoke about as well. Turning off the 3D dice, because just roll real dice if you want that. And then dice roll feed. Rolling with advantage or disadvantage, that's another thing I spoke about. Dice results too slow, something I spoke about. So it's looking like everyone is, or not everyone obviously, but a lot of people are having the same feeling as I am at the moment. So these top 5: turn off 3D dice, something I said. Roll feed for DM, something I said. Advantage, disadvantage, dice result, and then number 5 here as well. What's the long-term strategic intention of the dice roller? That is something I said as well. Does that mean that they have replied? Because that might be quite interesting to see what the intention is. Oh, here you go. Obviously I can't share everything that we have planned, but I can say we feel your pain. Personally, the reason I joined D&D Beyond and why I'm so excited to launch this feature to you all is because of where we're going. We plan to be implementing a sharing option soon. Okay, so that's interesting. So I'm assuming that means that you can share the dice rolls amongst people in the same campaign, I'm guessing. You all are absolutely right. Being able to share these dice rolls with the party and with just a DM is an important part of the game. Just like easily rolling a die and seeing a totaled number of die, we have to get part out first, and we need to make sure that it's good. But it's our intention to move into sharing of these dice rolls in the future. Well, I can't make promises about timeline. Okay, so that's good to know that they're going to add sharing. That's only sort of answers one thing though so far. Maybe they'll come out and answer some more of these features that people are asking for. Yeah, so all in all, hoping that in the future they will add a lot more features, and I really think that this feature shouldn't really be geared towards the player as such, because the player really doesn't have to do a great deal of maths each time. Like if you ask them to do a constitution saving throw, rolling a dice and then doing +2 isn't hard to do with normal dice and off your head. But when you're trying to run an encounter as a dungeon master, even just doing this auto initiative has saved me a hell of a lot of time, because it just fills in the initiative, presses the start, and that's exactly what I want their dice roller to do. I want their dice roller to just make it all a bit more automated for the dungeon master, so I don't have to worry every time I'm trying to work out which monsters are surprised when my party tries to attack them in stealth. At the moment, you have to roll 7 different rolls, or however many monsters there are in the encounter, and work it and do the maths for each. It would be really good if they could automate that like they have done the initiative here, and that's how I'd like to see it to go, because I don't think at the moment that doing it for the players and on that character sheet is any better than just rolling dice, unless you struggle with maths, I guess, or you don't have dice. But I don't know. What do you think? So if you're watching this after the fact, make sure to put in the comments what you think about this feature. It's also something that we haven't touched on actually, is at the moment it's only open to, let me change the view actually, let's go back to the, there we go, let's put it back on my face, you don't need to look at my screen anymore. So something we haven't spoken about yet is the fact that it's only open to subscribers. So at the moment you can only, it might even be a certain level of subscription as well. I'll see if I can find out the level, but it's only open to subscribers, so not everyone can try this out at the moment. So I wonder if D&D Beyond are going to do that in the future as well, if they're going to keep it to subscriber only. I assume not, and I assume it's only because it's in alpha and they need people to test it, and that's a much smaller player base than just giving it out to everyone. But I could be wrong, maybe they are going to just keep it to subscribers to try and get more people to subscribe. If we look at what a subscription actually gets you, I guess there's not a great deal of reason, unless you're the Dungeon Master, to get it. So maybe they're trying to think of other ways to get people to subscribe even if they're not the Dungeon Master. Maybe. But I think I've got the Master tier. I've got the one where you can share content with your players, so that we didn't all have to buy the content again, because a lot of us have the books, so didn't really want to buy it again. But so I got the Master tier, and then I get the books now, and they can all play. Right, so I think that's it. That's pretty much my reaction to it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you want to see more D&D content, I upload here on YouTube every Monday and Thursday, so make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell if you want to get notified. If you want to come and get involved in some of these live streams that I'm going to be doing as well, then make sure to subscribe. Go check me out on Twitter. I'm at @thatnerdshrike. So go check me out there as well, and because I will always update you for when I'm going live. So yeah, until next time, happy gaming.